Today, I'm going to be exploring this creek here in Central Texas. Let's see what we can find. I'm looking for plants and cool fish to catch. So let's see what we find. As you can tell, this is a very shallow creek, being at the deepest of about a foot deep. Even though it's so shallow, it's still teeming with plants and animals, including fish, snails, clams, and plants. So let's see what we can find. Here I have my trusty dip net, and let's go see what we can find. Now I'm stepping on these stones to make sure I don't disturb any of the natural habitats, as these plant beds are huge habitats for bunches of types of fish and animals. I also want to be pretty quiet, as I don't want to scare off any kind of fish or any other creatures that are living in these waters below. And first, we have found our first plant. This is Bacopa monnieri. These plants are super easy to grow in the aquarium. They are a slow grower, but they're very hardy. And as you can tell, they've got really thick stems to treat the really cold water that this stream is running at. And today we happen to hit the height of the Bacopa season, as this is when it's in full foliage and looking amazing. As for these other plant species, I can't say the same, as they just aren't in season, as their seasons were earlier in March. But next, let's move on to see what else we can find. And here we have found another plant. This is watercress. Now, watercress is an edible plant that a lot of people have eaten, but it's not really common in our aquarium trade hobby due to the fact it can't grow submersed. Do you remember when I said some of the other plants weren't in their season? Well, when they grow in their immersed form, they are in season, and this is some in-season Ludwigia repens, and you can tell there's other immersed plants such as the Bacopa and some Persicaria in this mix. But let's head downstream to see what else we can find, and as you can tell, we see more fields of this Bacopa monnieri. The gray plant that you see behind that's not in great shape, that is Ludwigia repens. I'm going to have to come back to this creek sometime in the spring just to show you how beautiful they are. But what's this? Do you see that? That is a long-eared sunfish. These guys are a type of American panfish, and they are chilling out in this 1.5 foot deep of water. Now you can tell over here, what is that little cleared out area? Well, that would be a spawning nest. Now the entirety of the creek's bottom is filled up with this green gooey algae substance, and that brings a lot of oxygen into the water column. Now you can tell over here, we've seen some casualties as well, such as this crawfish. But here's a piece of Ludwigia repens that I was able to find with still its leaf structure intact. You can tell it's a dark red. But the Bacopa monnieri is just looking outstanding. Now, it might be hard to tell, but those are mayflies that are all zooming across the water, and those provide a great food source for the many types of fish here that we are going to catch. And here's another plant species. There is some dollarwort, as you can tell right here, growing along the banks. These guys can grow submerged. Here's some more Ludwigia repens in its immersed form. And now, let's go catch some fish. This is how deep of the water in the little areas that I'm going to be dip netting is today, and as you can tell, it is not very deep at all. And here I have found our first target. Let's go catch them. Even though I came up fishless, I still caught some of these cool little clams here, and these guys act as a natural filter inside of any kind of body of water. And these guys are native to Texas, so we're going to put these guys right back. But what else did I catch that's not from Texas that's over here? I caught some of these weird little snails that are all over the creek bed. I ended up following the shoal of fish to the other side of the bridge, so here I'm going to be finding out where these fish are, and they seem to be in this little pool in the corner right here. So now let's see what we've caught. Did we catch any? Did we not? And we've caught some fish, but let's see what these guys are, as it looks like the first one is a mosquito fish. And these guys are all over the US. They are fairly common, and they breed similar to guppies as they are live-bearing fish. They have their young without laying any sort of eggs. But we're gonna let this guy go. Then the fish species I am looking for is usually hanging out underneath these little lips underneath the bridge, or underneath some of the vegetation shown here. But there wasn't any there, except for these mayflies. There was a lot of mayflies. All of a sudden, I felt some kind of fish brushing up against my feet. What are these? This is a creek chub, And these guys are really cool. They have a nice bright orange tail and a black back that is awesome. But we're going to let this guy go and let him swim away. But I still haven't caught the fish that I am looking for today. Let's try scooping along underneath these, as they love to hide underneath here. But nothing. So I went back to the other side of the bridge to see if I could catch them in and amongst the plants. But nothing. Or what about on the alongside edges of the plants? Nothing again. But I did find this plant species. This is Potamogeton schrenferi, and it is not the season for schrenferi, as schrenferi is a cold water winter plant, and its best season is in December. What's this? I have found it. Look, right there. Did you see that? That is the fish I'm targeting, and I've caught it. Let's see what we've caught. This is a really cool fish. This is one of my favorite native U.S. fishes. This is a juvenile female orange throat darter. And since it is not the season for darters, I was lucky to able to even catch one darter, much less a female darter. The ideal season to catch darters are going to be in the springtime when the spawning season is occurring, and that is when the males get super duper colorful alongside the females get very big and ready for laying their eggs. Those are the best time to catch darters. So when you try to fish for darters outside of that specific range, it is a lot harder. And as you can see, we're going to let her go back to her natural environment filled with plants. If you have enjoyed this video, feel free to check out any one of my other videos, but I highly recommend this video right here. It is super duper cool, and I recommend you go check it out. I'll see you in that video.